Hi everyone and welcome back to a new video and tutorial. I hope you're all doing great. So finally I am sharing with you how I did this beautiful pretty blanket. This is the corner to corner cluster V-stitch. I have previously done the cluster V-stitch square and I followed with a blanket, but I never posted the video. I did try to post about this, that I was going to try and make it for October, and here it is. The first one is the cluster V-stitch, and I'll follow with the next one, which is the corner to corner also V-stitch blanket. So this very pretty blanket is worked side to side using the cluster or double V-stitch and I made it into a blanket. So first I'll explain the measurement, how I did it, and everything you need to know. And the second part of the video will be the tutorial on how to make the corner to corner double V-stitch blanket. It will be made on a sample. I'll show you how to start it and then how to decrease to form this square of the blanket. So first of all, this blanket is made of 96 rows total with two colors, which is the dark green and light gray. I have done initially 48 rows of the triangle, so it starts building as a triangle. You extend it for as many rows as you want. So I did 48 rows of extending the triangle. And then I followed with 48 rows of a decrease to make it into a square. So the colors are 32 rows of gray. So we started with the gray, not with the green. I started with the gray with 32 rows. Then I followed with the 29 rows of green color. Then 17 rows of gray and ended with 19 rows of green. Total yarn balls I used for this blanket is 8 between the gray and the green. The measurement for the blanket is 129 centimeters on 119 centimeters. It's not a perfect square because it's a corner to corner, and this is the final look of it. You can make it bigger or you can make it smaller, it's up to you. So if you want to make it bigger, you make a bigger triangle and accordingly you decrease. So the decrease will automatically follow the increases. So the biggest your triangle, the biggest your decrease will be. As simple as that. So this is it for the blanket information. I'll leave you with a tutorial. So for this tutorial I'm using medium worsted yarn and 5.5mm crochet hook. So I'm gonna chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm gonna make one incomplete double crochet, join it to the chain 5, chain 1, 2 incomplete double crochet, join together, that's my first cluster V-stitch, and I'm gonna add another cluster V-stitch, which is 2 incomplete double crochet, join together, chain 1, and again 2 incomplete double crochet, join together. That's the cluster V-stitch. And this is, how the first row of the triangle looks like. Now I'm gonna chain 3 and I'm gonna work again in the previous cluster V-stitch. Double cluster V-stitch means 2 cluster V-stitch. So 1, this is 1 cluster V-stitch, and in the same space another cluster V-stitch. So that's how we're gonna increase and make the triangle bigger. The increase is happening only in each beginning of the row. Now in my next V-stitch, cluster V, chain 1 space of the cluster V-stitch, we'll check which is here. Okay, so this one I'm gonna make a single cluster V-stitch. Chain 1 and cluster V-stitch and a double crochet in the space, the chain 3, and again in the chain 1 space of the cluster I'm gonna make 2 cluster V-stitches. So 1 and 2. Now in this row I got 2 more cluster V-stitches. I'm gonna make a single cluster V-stitch in each of them. And this one. And a double crochet in the last chain. So this is what we're gonna do throughout the work, no matter how big is your project. Chain 3, turn, double cluster V-stitch in the first cluster V-stitch. One more. And a single cluster V-stitch in each of the next clusters till the end of the row, and we finish with 1 double crochet in the last stitch. And 1, 2, 3, this is how it looks like after 4 rows. You continue the same till the required length of your project. So this is how the double V-stitch or cluster V-stitch triangle looks like after few rows. I'm gonna go with more rows just to show you how it shapes. Again, double cluster in the first cluster stitch or cluster V-stitch. And one more. And a cluster V-stitch in the next cluster V-stitch. and in the next one until the end of this row. And the last one, this one. And a double crochet in the last stitch, and this is how it looks with more rows. So you continue the same way for as many rows as you want, depending on your project. You make the increase in the first beginning of the row with a double cluster, which is cluster V-stitch twice, and then a single cluster in the next ones, and a double crochet at the end of the row. Now I'm gonna turn it into a square, the corner to corner square. For that I'm gonna start the decrease. So previously we did an increase of double cluster. Now we're gonna decrease the number of clusters. So I'm gonna chain 3 and I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna make one cluster in the first cluster stitch, cluster V stitch. So and I'm gonna continue till the last cluster where I'm gonna show you what to do. So we're gonna decrease at the end of each row, not the beginning this time. So cluster V stitches almost done, and I've got my 2 last here. I'm gonna work the last one over here, last cluster V stitch, okay, and now I'm gonna skip the last cluster V stitch and I'm gonna make a double crochet in the last stitch, like so. Going on to the next row, I'm gonna chain 3 and I'm gonna work a cluster V stitch as normal. Like I said, beginning of the row you work a normal cluster V stitch. At the end of each row you skip the last cluster V stitch. And I'm left with the last one. I'm gonna skip that one and a double crochet in the last stitch. Oops. And we're gonna continue the same way till I'm left, oops, with only one cluster at the end of the row. So Okay, chain 3 and a cluster V-stitch in the next cluster. And one more. We're almost done. And the last one we skip and a double crochet, and we repeat chain 3. So the first cluster we work a normal cluster, chain 1, second cluster, and we skip the last one, chain 3. I'm going a bit fast because it's a repetitive row, so just to show you the steps and how it looks at the end. So I'm left with one cluster, and we skip the last one and a double crochet. And now the last step, chain 3, turn, and a double crochet in the last space, and you can fasten off. And this is the square complete. Double V-stitch, corner to corner granny, corner to corner double V-stitch granny square. I hope you liked the tutorial and found it easy to follow. So we start with an increase in the beginning of the row, then to close the square into a C to C, we have spaces at the beginning of each row. Very easy and straightforward, exactly the same as the corner to corner granny square, as I previously mentioned in other videos. For a change to learn new stitches with the patterns we like and we love, we try to be creative and create new things. I hope you like it and you find it easy to follow. Let me know what you think, and if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. Until next time, take care, bye bye.